boxer, if you like, Janet Raw, has spoken ahead of that match after the Super Eagles had their training session yesterday, and we'll be hearing from him, interviewed by the media officer of the team, Babafemi Raji. So good luck to the Super Eagles as they take on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. We'll also be looking at what's happening at the French Open. You know, of course, that Naomi Osaka has pulled out of the competition. What are the tennis bodies saying, especially the Grand Slams? We'll be looking at that, and also the latest scores from the French Open. Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, they through had easy wins in their first round games, but they are on course to colliding in the semi-final. So we'll see how things are going at the French Open. Of course, the NBA, we are at the business end, and the playoffs are on. Well, the defending champions, LA Lakers, they are on the brink. If they lose the next game, they will be out. They will be knocked out by the Phoenix Suns. But then we know that they are big game players. We've had Game 7 many times in their history. So I think they have the capability of turning things around and winning the next game. So we'll see what happens in the NBA, plus every other thing happening in the ever exciting world of sports. Good morning and welcome to Sports Fiesta. It is live on 92.7 KFM, Benin City. My name is Saliu Ibrahim, but they call me the Sports Ibracadabra because I bring magic to sports presentation and analysis. I go Sagbeka and the Sports Maestro is here, as well as Chijundu Itoro. Guys, great to have you in the studio this morning. Let's begin with the Super Eagles. We hear that the camp, looking really good. Many players coming in now. From what we got from Babafemi Raji, the media officer of the Super Eagles, quite a few of them are in camp at the moment. So let's just look at the players that are in camp before we begin the discussion. The latest from what he sent us is that we've got Moses Simon in camp, Maduka Okoye, Francis Uzoho, John Noble, William Trus-Ekong, Alex Iwobi, Shehu Abdullahi, Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho, Chinede Awazem, Jamilu Collins, Oganakaro Etebo, Valentine Ozonwafo, Anayo Iwala, Terem Murphy, Peter Olayinka, Samson Tijani is also there, as well as was this new guy that came into the team now, Marcus Abraham. Yes, Marcus Abraham is also in camp. So these are the players that are in camp. The latest that he sent us. So hopefully before the end of today, more players will arrive.
Yeah, I think it's good that we have this number of players in camp, despite the withdrawals that we had earlier due to injuries and also other issues, regarding the players after the hectic season. But all the same, I think with the players in camp right now, this is an opportunity for some of them to also make it big with the Super Eagles, to grab the opportunity, especially Terem Murphy, who has been on standby list on a couple of occasions. But now I'm sure he's going to start. We've got Kelechi and the big man, talking about Paulo Nwachu, will be hitting the camp. Honestly, I think that striking department, I don't think we are going to miss the likes of Victor Osimhen that much, because we've got quality using in that department. Looking at the midfield as well, yes, we've got the powerhouse, Oganekaro Etebo there, Wilfred Ndidi, just won the FA Cup with Leicester City. He has also is also a standard player and a regular player for the Super Eagles. Then we also got the new guy, Marcus Abraham, who might get his debut, and following the stats that he had last season for Farense, his club in Portugal, I think he could also be thrown into the fray because he's friendly. So the coach could decide to watch him closely and see what he has to offer. So we've got a quality host, and even in that defense that we had several withdrawals, in the defense line with the players there. Wilfred Trus-Ekong still basking the euphoria of getting promotion to the English Premier League with Watford. We've got other defenders there as well, but Ezenwafo, who is left-footed, I'm sure he's going to also give his own. Zaidu Sanusi is out, injured. We've got Jamilu Collins back in the team, and I think with the players right now, by the time Musa joins them, I'm sure sure they have what it takes to beat Cameroon. Yeah, it's a double header, but anything can happen. Remember, he has got a fantastic record against the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, took the back in on Troy. This could also be an opportunity to also ensure that, yes, he maintains that record. So far so good. We are good to go, and we hope that they will be able to fly past Cameroon on Friday.
Okay, well, matches like this, I'm talking about matches because it's a double header. There are things that the coach, is expected to use to test his fringe players. We've got players that usually they're not regulars in the Super Eagles. It's an opportunity for them to lay a claim to, the starting shirt of the Super Eagles. Players like Jamilu Collins these days, he plays a second fiddle in the Super Eagles setup. It's an opportunity for him to come back and then, of course, cement his place in the Super Eagles. You also talk about the likes of Johnny Samson, who is coming into the team. He's got to also make a name for himself. Peter Olayinka has been left out a couple of times already after he was initially invited. It's also another opportunity for him to ensure that the coach looks as well as, okay, yes, you're good to go in our next matches. Remember, this is just the friendly setup now. It's not, the usual World Cup qualifiers or AFCON qualifiers. So there's little pressure that even though we're playing against Cameroon over 2 legs, but then you expect the players to be relaxed and, of course, play their game. It's a match that we expect coach going to draw hopefully on Friday to try out 1 or 2 things to ensure that during the World Cup qualifiers we'll not have issues, with beating the likes of Liberia, probably Cape Verde. So let's see how it gets to go for the Super Eagles Galva. It's a huge opportunity once again to show that he is the right man for the Super Eagles job.
Okay, let's hear from the man himself, manager of the Super Eagles, Gernot Rohr, speaking after they had their training session yesterday.
Training over, done and dusted. How did it go, coach?
Yes, it was okay. We had 18 players this afternoon. Some of them were traveling in the night, so we were very careful. We don't want to have any injuries. We will be 20 only tomorrow because still 2 other players will arrive, Onwachu and Ahmed Musa. So we will be 20 and we will try to have a good team with these 20 players. Cameroon has 26 and for the 2 games I hope no injury. The training session was okay, the conditions are good grass, good weather, not too hot. And I think, we can prepare well here in Austria, our friendlies against Cameroon.
And how would you rate this friendly match? Do you think it's good enough to keep the boys in good shape ahead of the qualifiers?
This test match, you see that so many players are not here, and it's opportunity for us to try other players, to see new faces, and they will have the chance to show something. It's always important to prepare well the World Cup. It's the last opportunity now to test and to do something to prepare well our World Cup qualifiers against Liberia and Cape Verde. So we must use this opportunity to be ready and to have a good complicity in the team.
Thank you very much, coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, coach of the Super Eagles, Gernot Rohr, speaking there with the media officer of the team, Babafemi Raji. But there's something about Gernot Rohr. He seems to be so particular about the pitch, the grass. He's always talking about the grass. I recall when they came here to Benin City, he said the same thing about the grass. But in spite of how good the pitch was and everything, they lost. Although, to be fair to the Super Eagles, none of them complained about the pitch later on, but some of our professional colleagues started saying things like the grass in Benin. I'm like, no, please, don't even go there. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the pitch in Benin City. In fact, the only thing that they said was the captain of the team, Ahmed Musa, the day just before the game, he said that the grass was a bit long, that they should just trim it a bit, and they did. Recall the director of facilities, our friend Victor Edopai, saw them on the day of the match trimming that pit, and he said it was the captain that said they should do that, and it was in perfect condition when the Super Eagles played. But unfortunately for them, from a 4-0 lead, they eventually ended that game in a draw, 4-4. Now the coach is talking about the pitch again. He said the pitch is good and everything, so there should be no excuses when they play Cameroon on Friday.
Absolutely, there should be no excuses whatsoever. It looks like everything is set for the Super Eagles versus Cameroon. If Coach Gernot Rohr is not complaining, it means everything is 100%. He has 18 players to work with now. With about 18 players, you can prosecute 2 matches. So even if we don't have up to the 20 players as he's expecting, we should of course be able to get the job done on the side against Cameroon. We wouldn't want to be beaten far away in Austria by Cameroon over 2 legs or even once, because we know the huge rivalry between Nigeria and Cameroon. We know in the past they've stopped us from winning the AFCON 3 times. So we always want to come back and, of course, have some level of revenge against Cameroon. I hope Coach Jonathan has that in mind, that we don't want to lose against Cameroon, because it will be a big one. We're hearing things about the players not being paid. There might be bonuses since 2021 or thereabout. We don't want to delve into that very one. Hopefully the NFF can come out and make a proper statement on that. But then the business has to be on the pitch of play. The coach has got to motivate his players, let them know that we have a bigger one upcoming. You've got to give your best in this one. If you don't give your best here, you don't stand a chance of playing in the World Cup qualifiers. And if you do not play in the World Cup qualifiers, your chances of making it to the World Cup pretty very much are slim. So it's a huge opportunity for the French players to make a name for themselves.
And I've also heard people say, insinuate that maybe the reason why we are having this large withdrawal is because they've not been paid their allowances and all of that. But come on, Kelechi Iheanacho is in camp, Wilfred Ndidi is in camp, the captain of the team, Ahmed Musa, will soon be in camp. So many players are there, so I don't think that's really... look, there is no... They have to pay them. They have to pay them. I mean, if it were, the administrators, the politicians, they get paid their allowances, so the Super Eagles should be paid. But, of course, we also know that they don't live by that. They can actually decide to play for free for Nigeria. Yeah, they can. Yeah. They can. We know they've got the money, but we are not saying they should. They can, but when the country says, okay, please, for now, we would not have the money, but we'll pay you, I think they should just forget about everything, be patriotic, come and represent your country. You know that the country is owing you, and eventually you will get paid. We insist that the players have to get paid because they've actually done the job. And they were promised, if you had told them from beginning, if Nigeria had a rule, for instance, which is codified, everybody is aware of it, and you tell everybody playing for the national team, you don't get allowances, you don't get anything. Maybe we only fly you to the country and back to your base. I'm sure you still have players playing for Nigeria, because they don't. If it is the money, really, I mean, yeah, the money that they get paid is much. When you even check, you compare it to other countries, you see that our players get so much money, but that's not really, without the national team allowances, they will survive, because they are professional players. They make money off their club. But since there isn't any agreement that, okay, whenever you play for your country, it is free of charge, since you've told them, it is written, everybody knows that every time you come, these are what you get as allowances. I don't understand why we will be owing our players after they have prosecuted some matches or even tournament as we have now, because we're still hearing from 2019 Africa Cup of Nations there are some allowances that have not been paid to these players. All right, we'll continue after we return from this break. Please stay tuned.
Oh yes, Nasco quality cornflakes are so full of nourishing goodness because they are whole-flaked cornflakes. Whole-flaked cornflakes are made by a natural flaking process that retains all the natural goodness of the whole corn for whole nutrition, whole taste, and whole crunchiness for the whole family. So next time you're eating cornflakes, make sure it's whole-flaked Nasco cornflakes. Nasco cornflakes, nourishing goodness anytime.
What is this? I thought I asked all of you to drop whatever you have outside there.
I'm sorry, sir. This is Fluco Day. I saw you coughing earlier, so I brought it out for you so you can take it.
Thanks for your kindness, but I'm smarter than that. You think I don't know that every drug that cures cough and catarrh causes drowsiness? So you want me to sleep, Abi?
This is what distinguishes Fluco Day. It does not cause drowsiness.
Nah, drug. I know this drug. It work well. No?
Let me try it. Manufactured by Harvit.
Marketed and distributed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
Time up. And you, I said what? Flu.
Fluco Day!
Available in pharmacy shops near you.
Uncle Dentist, what can be cavities and how Colgate take they protect my teeth from cavities? Shay, they use Kung Fu?
No, dear. Now, hole for teeth they cause most tooth pain will be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, take brush every day. The confirmed formula could help keep natural calcium inside our teeth. We could protect them from tooth decay.
Time don't reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Now, the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
place and it brighten. Make everybody they wonder. Waiting because I'll be shining. Lush hair, lush hair. Long hair or short doesn't matter. Crochet or dreadlocks can be better. Only for girls we know better. Lush hair, lush hair. So you want to slay? Slay with swag. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. Straight or curly. You know they tango. Lie. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. You wonder how I shine like this. I'm on a lush hair, be the cocoa. Say you want to know. And if you wanna be fine like me, I can show you where to go. A lush hair, be the cocoa.
Beautiful people know how to make an impression, and that's why they only trust Lush Hair Extensions to bring out the shine in them. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
Welcome back to Sports Fiesta live on 90.7 KFM, Benin City, with me, Sali Ibrahim, the Sports Brekadabra, Egusa Ekbekan, and Chijundu Itoro. All right, let's look at what's happening in football internationally. And now we're talking the clubs. And now we can tell you that Carlo Ancelotti has left Everton after just 18 months in charge of the Toffees, and he is going to become the new head coach at Real Madrid for a second time. He did well the first time he was at Real Madrid, even won them the title that they have been looking for such a long time, the one that they call La Decima. That was the UEFA Champions League, which he won in 2014. Recall that the last time they won it, which was the 9th time before they started this campaign to look for the 10th. It was in 2002 when Zinedine Zidane was there, Raul and the other Galacticos players. They won it, and since then the 10th title became something of a mirage. They looked for it for so long, brought in so many managers, brought in different players, but they were unable to. But when they appointed Carlo Ancelotti, he eventually won that 10th UEFA Champions League title for them. But the very next season, he was fired. But now, after Zinedine Zidane, who has also now managed Real Madrid twice, he left just a couple of days ago. Now, Carlo Ancelotti, who was trying to do something remarkable at Everton, but maybe just as it is with the footballers, when Real Madrid come calling, you have to go. It's the same thing with the coaches. Now, Carlo Ancelotti is returning to Real Madrid.
Well, it's a massive opportunity for him. I don't think that if he had said no to this very one, it will come again in maybe 5 or 6 years' time. For Ancelotti, I'm struggling to understand why he went back to Real Madrid, because at Everton, pretty very much he was comfortable there. He wasn't under any pressure to win any trophies. Yes, Everton.
But as the quality of Carlo Ancelotti as a manager, he wants to be where he can win titles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe no pressure for not winning titles at Everton, but he doesn't want that as a manager. He feels that he should be winning titles. This is somebody that has gone to different countries and has won titles. He's won the German Bundesliga, has won the French Ligue 1, has won the English Premier League, and has, of course, won the Italian Serie A. So he expects to be at a club that will be winning titles. See the clubs that he has coached: AC Milan, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain. And even when he was appointed as Everton manager, some of us felt, really, would you be going to Everton?
Even at Napoli, we felt Napoli not that kind of club it should be. I mean, his coach AC Milan, moving from AC Milan to Napoli it wasn't more like an upgrade. It was more like a downgrade for him. At Everton, it was also a downgrade, but at that time, he was looking for anywhere to go into. Remember how his stay at Napoli ended? He was basically booted out of the club by the president of that very club, and he was just looking for somewhere to go to and then start all over again. And Everton presented that massive opportunity for him. He has now seen a club where he feels like, okay, this place, I've known here before, and I can come back here and, of course, win more titles. At Real Madrid, it's massive pressure. He's been there before. He understands the terrain. From 2013 to 2015, he was there at Madrid. this is also another chance for him to go there and make a name. After all, Coach Zidane went back to Real Madrid and also, won a title there. So who says Ancelotti cannot go back to Madrid and win the Spanish La Liga, probably the UEFA Champions League? So let's see how it gets to go. But all in all, it has to depend on the way Real Madrid will have to run themselves, moving forward. We hear that their captain, Sergio Ramos, who knows, will leave the club probably. At the end of this summer, that will happen. We hear also a couple of players.
But sometimes players that are about leaving a club, once there is a change of managers, they could stay and become mainstays in that club. You can see that happening at Chelsea.
Absolutely.
Anthony Rudiger was on his way out. There are so many other players that felt like they were never going to play for Chelsea again. We were told that was that left back, Marcos Alonso, that he was never going to play for Chelsea again after what he did when they played against West Bromwich Albion away from home when they were 3-0 down in the first half and he was substituted. He went straight to the dressing room. Just went to take his bath and everything and didn't even join. No, they said he went to the team bus. He just left them and for the rest of the time that Frank Lampard spent at Chelsea, he never played for them. But when Thomas Tuchel came, he started using him and we saw him scoring goals. Same with Anthony Rudiger, although just before Frank Lampard left, it seemed the relationship between him and Lampard and Anthony Rudiger improved and Anthony Rudiger played some games. But under Thomas Tuchel, Anthony Rudiger is virtually undroppable, So with Sergio Ramos, who seemed to be on his way out, from all the talks that we've been getting, but now Zinedine Zidane is no longer there, and maybe I know it's not like he had a personal problem with Zinedine Zidane. Maybe the club was just felt okay. It's time for us to look to the future. But if the new manager coming in now, Carlo Ancelotti, if he feels well, this guy he served me very well the first time I was here, and I want him to stay at least for 2 more seasons just to pass on his experience to the younger players. Maybe he will stay eventually.
We'll just see how it gets to go. For Sergio Ramos, maybe 2 things are the issue. One, the number of years he has to sign for Real Madrid, and then secondly, the money involved as well. Players are usually particular about the number of years. We saw that happen between Willian and Chelsea, and then he decided to move to Arsenal. So it could be either money or probably the number of years they're offering him. We could offer him 1 year, and he probably wants 3 years, considering what he has done for the club. And also, remember, maybe looking at his age, they say you're over 30, there's no way we can give you a 3 years contract, knowing fully well that in 1 season or 2 seasons you probably may lose form, and then who gets to pay for the rest of the 1 year or 2 years that you may not be actively playing football, and injuries maybe would set in. So clubs, they look at the profit aspect of the business and ensure that they put themselves in that very mode to make more money. So let's see how it gets to go for Carlo Ancelotti. We're expecting signings to come on board. We know that a couple of players already have signed contract extensions. Luka Modric has signed a contract extension at the club. So we hope that more would, of course, come from the camp of Real Madrid. We're expecting Ancelotti to do something great once again at that football club. It's a massive, huge chance for him.
Yeah, I think it will really basically have to do with Carlo Ancelotti. If he says he wants Sergio Ramos, they will keep Sergio Ramos. Remember, when Jose Mourinho came to Real Madrid, Raúl was untouchable. The eternal Raúl was, but he came and felt, I've got Ronaldo, I've got Benzema, Raúl can go, and Raúl left. Maybe another manager would have wanted Raúl to stay, and we've seen it happen at different clubs. When Pep Guardiola came to Barcelona, he said Deco, even Samuel Eto'o, although he didn't leave the very first season, but he just felt, look, Ronaldinho, Deco, they should go. And people were like, are you serious? This guy, the bedrock of the team. But I said, no, I've got Iniesta, I've got Xavi, and I've got Lionel Messi. And so even the next season, look, Samuel Eto'o stayed for 1 season, but after that, he left. Zlatan Ibrahimovic came. He didn't really fit into his style of play and all that. Although Zlatan, he gave him a piece of his mind, told him, you bought a Ferrari and you are driving it like a Fiat, so it's not going to work. And eventually left. So now that Carlo Ancelotti is at Real Madrid, we'll see what he will do. Maybe he will say, okay, those players that are there, he wants them. Eden Hazard, his future seems to be in doubt right now with some of the things that happen. Yeah, but with Ancelotti, perhaps he will say, no, I want Eden Hazard. I think I can improve him and all of that. So we'll see what's going to happen with Carlo Ancelotti returning to Real Madrid. But we've got to feel sorry for Everton. I mean, they thought that their future was sorted with Carlo Ancelotti being the manager. However, now that a bigger club has come, they just have to.
I think for Everton, I think the players there, they did not also help themselves, because at some point he was really hungry with the way the players were playing, and he told them openly that if you know you are not serious, better face the exit door, because I cannot have players who are unhappy in this team. We have some matches that you thought they could go on to do, especially at home, but they failed to do that and they finished 10th. And right now they are searching for another manager. And after having 5 managers in 5 years, come on, how long are they going to continue this? I know Moshiri talking about the owner of the club. Yes, it's somebody.
Farhad
Moshiri. Someone wants to get somebody that will help put Everton in that level where you have them in top 6, maybe probably getting the Europa League ticket at the end of the season. Look at what their former manager is doing right now at West Ham United. Talking about David Moyes, he got a Europa League ticket and he finished well with West Ham United. Although many thanks to the loan signing from Manchester United, talking about this league. But all the same, I'm sure that this was a big opportunity for Carlo Ancelotti, because they wanted to get somebody like Mauricio Pochettino. But quickly, Paris Saint-Germain triggered his contract extension, and that put it's time to Pochettino moving. Now they have to look elsewhere, and who is that big shot that could turn things around, that will step into the dressing room and everyone will stand up for it. They just refer to Carlo Ancelotti, and with the way things are going,
Carlo Ancelotti was something of a coup for them, because we've mentioned a player like him. A coach like him, you think, well, he used to be a player, played for AC Milan, won the Champions League twice as a player at AC Milan, played with Ruud Gullit,
some of the best players in the world.
Yeah, Marco van Basten and Franco Baresi, Frank Rijkaard, and the rest of them. Well, but now Everton, maybe they will be looking at Nuno Espirito Santo, but we heard that he has already had talks with Crystal Palace, so we don't know. Carlo Ancelotti was, according to their manager, their owner, Farhad Moshiri, a Hollywood-like manager figure that they brought into the team, but now they've lost him. They've got to look at other possibilities. All right, let's look at what else is happening in the world of football. We are going to be having some international friendlies tonight. The Netherlands will take on Scotland, England versus Austria, France will play against Wales, Egypt will battle Burundi, Belarus versus Azerbaijan, Bosnia-Herzegovina will take on Montenegro, Norway versus Luxembourg, and Romania will be playing against Georgia. These are some of the friendlies that we have for today. Then we quickly look at what's going on in the gossip section. Well, we hear that former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher, he believes that former Liverpool manager Rafael Benitez is an ideal choice to take over at Goodison Park. So if they cannot get Nuno Espirito Santo, perhaps Rafael Benitez is there. Rafael Benitez, of course, well experienced, especially in the English Premier League, managed Liverpool, managed Chelsea. So if he goes to, I think he also at Newcastle some time ago.
Yeah.
So if he comes to Everton, well, thank you. It will be good for him. Then Everton, we hear that they will wait until a new manager is in place before they decide on the future of Moise Kean. Paris Saint-Germain, they are hoping to sign the 21-year-old Italian international on another season-long loan. Then Argentine forward Lionel Messi, who's 33 years old, is close to agreeing a 2-year contract extension with Barcelona. As well, those talks about Lionel Messi moving, I don't think this guy will go anywhere.
He wasn't going to move. Immediately,
so comfortable at Barcelona.
Very comfortable.
Especially now that they've signed Sergio Kun Aguero. So even if he is planning to leave, well, it's not. Don't think he's going to be leaving anytime soon, because Sergio Kun Aguero is a very close friend of his. And I heard the story that Sergio Kun Aguero told about first time he met Lionel Messi. Well, if actually seen him, they were in camp. He said he was in the under 16 and Messi was in the under 17, you know, in camp for Argentina. And then there was this mixed group that they had. So they were just talking and just looking at Messi. Everybody knew Messi, but he He now looked at the trainers that Messi was wearing, and he said, "Oh, fantastic trainers! Where did you get them?" I said, "Oh, they were sent to me from the United States of America." Said, "They say you small picking like you this. Who sent you trainers from United States of America?" And Sergio could go and ask him, "What's your name?" And the others were looking at him like,
"You don't know who he is? Are you okay?
Are you taking something?" And then he said, "Leo." And I said, "No, your real name." I said, "Lionel Messi." Lionel Messi. Okay. Then the other guys were like, then that was when it clicked. And he said, "Oh, you are that kid that everybody is talking about, the one that they said is at Barcelona and Ronaldinho said he was going to be the when Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant and Ronaldinho are very good friends. So Kobe Bryant went to visit Ronaldinho, and then was praising him about how good he is. And Ronaldinho told Kobe Bryant, "I'm not even the best player in the world." He was saying, you are the best player in the world. And he now told him, "Look, I'm not even the best player at Barcelona." And Kobe Bryant was like, "Are you serious? What are you talking about?" He said, "Let me introduce you to somebody." And I called Lionel Messi and said, "Look, this guy is, just watch out. He is going to be the greatest player, not just in the world, but in the entire history of football." And Ronaldinho thought, Kobe Bryant said he thought that Ronaldinho was being overly generous until Lionel Messi started watching Lionel Messi, and he observed some of the things that he was doing. And of course, we know that Lionel Messi has now won the World Footballer of the Year award 6 times. No player. Ronaldinho only won it twice in his career. But of course, we know that Ronaldinho was great. And Ronaldinho himself, at one point, was looking up to someone that was, of course, not Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi looked up to him. He was looking up to our own Austin Okocha, who was with him at Paris Saint-Germain then. And so, in a way, we could say Austin Okocha influenced Lionel Messi. Yes, I said it. Quote me. Yes. Because if Lionel Messi copied some things from Ronaldinho, and Ronaldinho got so many things from Austin Okocha. And this is not just me saying, Austin Okocha hardly even speaks about it. Yeah. But Ronaldinho himself is talking about it. Ronaldinho will tell you he learned so much from Austin Okocha when they were together at Paris Saint-Germain. All right, other things on the gossip section. We also hear that Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy, he remains hopeful of being able to persuade Paris Saint-Germain manager Mauricio Pochettino to return to the club. So why was he fired? I don't understand. If you are going to bring him back, why did you allow him go? However, Paris Saint-Germain, they said that, and we are hopeful that this guy will stay after they triggered a 12-month extension of his contract. Okay? We'll return to football later, but for now, let us go to tennis. Well, the 4 Grand Slams, they say that they want to create meaningful improvement in supporting players after Naomi Osaka, she withdrew from the French Open. The 4 Grand Slams, of course, we're talking about the French Open, the Australian Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open, okay? It is not the British Open or the English Open. These guys, they do things separately. So theirs is Wimbledon. Okay, so Naomi Osaka pulled out on Monday. That was a day after the 4 Grand Slams threatened that they were going to expel her if she refuses to talk to the media. But now she has withdrawn, and she says that she's been having bouts of depression since she won her first Grand Slam in 2018. And now, they're beginning to realize that it is actually a serious problem. So, in a statement, the 4 Grand Slam says, "We commend Naomi for sharing, in her own words, the pressure and anxiety she's facing. We empathize with the unique pressures tennis players may face." And this has elicited so much reaction. Serena Williams said she wished she could just put her hands around Naomi Osaka at this moment. You recall that when she beat Serena Williams to win the US Open some years ago, there was so much antagonism towards her from the largely pro-Serena crowd. And Serena actually even went there, put her hands around her and told the crowd, please, do not boo her. She did absolutely nothing wrong. It is the umpire that I have a problem with, not with Naomi Osaka. And Naomi Osaka, recall, was it last year or 2 seasons ago, when she beat Cory Kokogov in a competition, yeah? And Kokogov was crying. So she went and hugged Kokogov and even told her, come and do because normally on the court, they only interview the winner. She asked Kokogov to join her when she was being interviewed so that both of them could talk. And Kokogov was like, are you serious? Will that be okay by you? And she said yes. So she joined her, and it really helped to, comfort Cory Kokogov, was feeling really bad. And I understand what Naomi Osaka was saying, that when a player loses and you want the player to answer questions, it's not the best time. But looking at what she did, she played the role of a psychologist there, and a big sister and everything. She herself is very young. Naomi Osaka is 23, right? Yeah. So for her to be playing the role of a mother figure for Kokogov, who's just 17 years old, I mean, that's really impressive. But, having gone through some of these things, especially what she did with Cory Kokogov, I mean, couldn't she have looked at that? Please, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. I of course, empathize with Naomi Osaka. I understand what she's saying about mental health and all of that. And we've also said, look, some journalists don't even know how to ask questions. They ask some very inappropriate questions sometimes. And she is saying that when a player is down, when a player has lost a game and you're interviewing that person, it's like kicking somebody when the person is down. So we understand all that. But because of the nature of the business, because so much money has been paid, and before you even start the tournament that speaking to the media is part of your obligation. So maybe it could have been handled differently. Perhaps you could have appealed to the French Open and by implication the other Grand Slams, that perhaps the kind of questions that will be asked should be different, or let a psychologist accompany these players, or the Grand Slam. For every Grand Slam there should be psychologists, professionals who can talk to the players, who can help them prepare for post-match interviews, even after they've lost. Maybe that would be better than what we're having now.
But I think the Grand Slams, they are also going to look at that. And for what Naomi Osaka did, she wanted to, haven't been fined 15,000, after winning her first game against Romania's Pasha Madrati. Maybe she felt, okay, let me just go home, and, take some rest. After some time, I'll think about coming back to the court, and also I'll make a return. But for now, it seems that, what she's saying, it doesn't really make sense to the organizers, despite the fact that, yes, they make this money. And for the media, they also projected people like Naomi Osaka, promoted her to this level. But sometimes, like she said, not every question you ask someone who's already down, you don't know the state of mind they are at that moment. So I think with all this right now, the Grand Slams could come together and say, okay, let's look at how we are going to handle players after every match. Look at their state of mind. Maybe have a one-on-one talk with them and see if they can face the media. If they cannot, maybe look at some of the questions, because sometimes the kind of questions that are being...
No, they cannot say if they cannot. What they should look at is the kind of questions that are asked. They should restructure. Maybe have a meeting with the players. Okay, when you lose a match, what are the type of questions that you do not want to answer, so that the journalists can not ask such questions. I mean, look, even here in Nigeria, there was a press conference that we had on that unfortunate incident, Ihini Umore, that was killed in Akwa Ibom now. Yeah. And the day that they caught the murderer, some of the questions that were asked, like, are you guys serious? They want to ask this kind of question. So we understand, even though we are in the profession, we understand some of these things. But you cannot, for instance, somebody take kidnapped victims who have been released. The media still asks them questions now. You can't say, oh, because they've been through so much trauma, you're not supposed to talk to them, because the public needs to know what happened, what they went through and all of that. But there are some questions that you should not ask. I mean, we can't even say it on air, but I'm sure some of our listeners will understand where we are going to. You know that some things will happen in captivity, but you are not supposed to, when you are talking to that person in public, and you are not asking, did this thing happen, did that, you know, you are not supposed to say such kind of thing. So I think it is just proper understanding and maybe retraining for the journalists so that they will know the kind of questions to ask, and perhaps have a meeting with the players and say, okay, somebody has just lost. What kind of question should you ask, and what kind of question will you not want to answer? If you've listened to, and look, I think the players can even turn these interviews to their advantage. Listen to Zlatan Ibrahimovic when he grants interviews. I mean, before you interview him, you ensure that you prepare very well, because Zlatan can tell you, oh my friend, you are so stupid, you are not even prepared, you should not even be a journalist, I can do a better job than you. He can't tell you that. Zlatan has said that to journalists because they asked questions that were inappropriate. I mean, if you do not know this thing and you are coming to interview me, then something is wrong with you. Especially if you did not get your statistics right about Zlatan. If you tell him, well, you scored 15 goals and he actually scored 16, he's going to correct you right there and tell you certain things. Yes. So they've got to look at all of this. And some reactions, well, many of them, as I said, okay. But I looked at the reaction from Venus Williams. Well, Venus has won 7 Grand Slams. She's one of the greatest tennis players ever. But some of the things she said, I'm looking at it, maybe, well, because I'm a journalist, so you'll understand the reaction. She said, for me personally, I know every single I know every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will. So no matter what you say or what you write, you will never light a candle to me. That's how I deal with it. But each person deals with it differently. Yes. No, but look, I understand that, of course, nobody can play tennis. Like, none of the journalists asking Venus Williams questions can actually play tennis like her. But she's a professional tennis player, for crying out loud. These guys are reporters, they are journalists, they are not tennis players. So if I, as a journalist, am supposed to play tennis better than Venus Williams, then she has a problem. They are journalists, she cannot do their job better than they can. So I think she should be a bit more, magnanimous when she talks about issues like this. Yes, we've said some, but when you just she said every single person. So she's talking to all of them, even those that ask the really intelligent questions. She should have been able to say, well, some of them ask questions that are inappropriate and all of that. But you are a tennis player, you are supposed to play tennis better than everyone. It shouldn't just paint everybody like every journalist doesn't even know what they are doing. And besides, because you play the game does not mean that you cannot be criticized by somebody who has never played the game. Yeah. I mean, we watch the game, there are different things. Analysis is different from actually playing. Yeah, you can say, well, you are just an armchair critic. You are just sitting on your chair and you say, but it is what you can see. So you can actually say, if this happens this way. Some of us criticize Pep Guardiola for not starting with a holding midfielder in that final against Chelsea. But who are we? We can't hold a candle to Pep Guardiola when it comes to football. I mean, how many people involved, even those that are professionals, can actually compete with Pep Guardiola when it comes to the technical aspects of the game? But he is not infallible. He is not above reproach. He is not above criticism. And when he did something that didn't work out well eventually, then the journalists have got every right to criticize. So Pep Guardiola will now say, you telling me that I should have started with a defensive midfielder. You know nothing. You cannot hold a candle to me and all of that. No. I mean, it was clear that he made a mistake with that selection that he made in the final. All right, let's look at another story that has to do with a player pulling out of the French Open. Two-time Grand Slam champion Petra Kvitova, she has withdrawn from the French Open because of a freak ankle injury. This was sustained during her post-match media duties. So unlike Naomi Osaka, she was actually doing performing her media obligations, but she fell and she injured her ankle. She didn't get injured while she was playing a match. It was after during the media interview.
That's something you don't want to happen in any way. I mean, one thing is getting injured during the course of a match. Another thing is getting injured after the match. I mean, when you think like, okay, I actually came out from this match unscattered, and then you have to, go do the usual media rituals, and then on your way to that place you fell awkwardly and injured yourself. I mean, it's not the way you want to get injured, but let's hope that she gets to bounce back as quickly as possible. It's over for her now in terms of the French Open. Hopefully, in the other major Grand Slams, she can of course come back and get to continue to do what she knows how to do best.
Okay, let's quickly look at some results from the French Open for both the men and the women before we go to other sports.
All right, Carla Suarez Navarro was beaten by Sloane Stephens of the United States 3-6, 7-6, 6-4. Karina Pliskova defeated Donna Vekic in straight sets 7-5, 6-4 to progress, while Karolina Muchova also beat Andrei Petkovic 1-6, 6-3, 6-4. Koliko Kugov defeated Alexandra Krunic straight set 7-6, 6-4. Then Levchenko and Zaunk took on to the court, and it was Levchenko of United States who won in straight set 6-3, 6-3. Venus Williams was beaten by Alexandrova and straight set 6-3, 6-1.
And if they ask that questions now, she'll say, come on.
And the Scott Abbott was able to beat Golubic 6-7, 7-6, 6 love. Okay, quickly let's look at the men's singles result as well, and also give that to you. Okay, for the men, we had Novak Djokovic who defeated Tennis Sandgren in straight sets 6-2, 6-4, 6-2, while Lucas Pouille defeated Pablo Cuevas. Okay, it was Cuevas who beat Lucas Pouille of France in straight sets 6-3, 6-1, 6-3. Kevin Anderson of South Africa was beaten by Kwon of South Korea in the first set 7-5, 6-4, 2-6, 7-6.
Okay, that's the match we'll take for tennis. Maybe in the evening we'll look at more results. Well, let's quickly go to the NBA now and look at what's happening in the playoff. Boston Celtics took on Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets won this 123 points to 109, and that means that the Brooklyn Nets are through to the next round. They won the series 4-1. Their star man was James Harden, got 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, while Jason Tatum scored 32 points, he got 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Portland Trail Blazers, they were beaten by Denver Nuggets 147 points to 140. Denver Nuggets, they now lead the series of 3-2. For Denver, their star man was Nikola Jokic, 38 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. And then Damian Lillard, 55 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists. And for LA Lakers, they were beaten soundly by Phoenix Suns, 115 points to 85. Wow, that was a blowout. LeBron James was their star performer for LA Lakers, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, while Devin Booker of Phoenix got 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Phoenix Suns now lead the series 3-2. So one more win, they are through to the next round. For the matches that we have for tonight, Dallas Mavericks will be taking on LA Clippers. Washington Wizards versus Philadelphia 76ers. Atlanta Hawks will battle New York Knicks, and Memphis Grizzlies will take on Utah Jazz. So these are the matches that we have for tonight in the NBA. I told you that we'll return to football, and we can tell you now, update from the Super Eagles camp. Ahmed Musa has arrived. Yeah, they just the media officer of the team just sent that message. So Ahmed Musa is in camp. So we're waiting for
19 players now.
Yeah, Paul Onuachu. Paul Onuachu is the guy that we are waiting for.
The man of the moment.
Okay, let's quickly look at the text messages. This one reads, Naomi is living her dreams. Not everyone gets the chance to get paid doing what they love. She must appreciate that. The press isn't the problem. The problem is the fact that she's among the privileged ones. Paul. Yeah, Paul, I get what you are saying, but again, your mental health is very important. We don't seem to realize that in this part of the world, but it's something that people have committed suicide. They've taken their own lives for some things that you consider trivial. So we've got to be very, very careful when somebody's telling you, I'm not in the right state of mind, and you insist on, no, you've got to continue this, you've got to do it. No, we've got to be extremely careful. But I am saying that maybe there should, the way she handled it, the way she just got, maybe before she came out to say ahead of this tournament, I'm not going to be speaking to the media. Perhaps she should have spoken to the Grand Slam, the French Open, the organizers of the French Open, and they will have arranged a meeting with the media to say, okay, look, this person is having this problem. This is how we are going to go about it. There are certain questions that you are not supposed to ask and all of that. So that's the thing. I think that's what they should have done. Please update me on Arsenal signing on Nana. Okay, on Arsenal signing on Nana. Good work to your crew. I am Godwin Ibohai.
Well, that's still in the pipeline. Another has a case today. Hopefully, because of
if they can overturn
that's very bad. Hopefully, maybe you play faster in future.
Yeah, but the ban is 1 year. So even if it doesn't, even if they don't overturn the ban, you can still play for Arsenal in future. But we don't know right now if Arsenal can actually get him. Madrid have gone for a coach who can tap into the potentials of the young talent they ship out on loan with no chance of first-team football. You have an aging squad, yet you ship out Odegaard, Diaz, Kubo, and the likes. Carlo is like Zidane. He prefers experience to youth. Sly Fox. Okay. Hello, good morning. Okay, hello, good morning, Oga Ibrahim, Egosa, and Chijundu. Welcome back, Oga Ibrahim. I wish you success in your exams. Okay, I'm really happy that my team, Real Madrid, are able to reappoint Carlo Ancelotti as our manager. He is a good appointment, and I do hope he can continue from where Zinedine Zidane left off, and I do wish him success. Also, I'm sad that Naomi Osaka had to pull out from the French Open. She was one of my favorites going into the tournament, but I do hope she gets over her current mental state and gets to come back better and stronger. Keep up the good job, sirs. Thanks, Hassan, texting from University of Benin, Ugbawa. Okay, one more before we blow the final whistle. Good morning, sports analyst. Welcome to our new signing there. He's doing great. If a club sacks a manager, the club pay. What happens when a manager leaves the club like Ancelotti? I came from Agadagudu. Well, it depends on what they have in the contract. Sometimes the coach will have to compensate the club. So it will depend on whatever they have in the contract. Even the clubs paying managers, it's because it is in the contract. If it isn't there, if there isn't a clause that states that if you sack me within this time, you're going to pay me this amount, then they won't pay. Okay, so there must have been something in that contract before these things can happen. All right, time to blow the final whistle.
I would like to thank Everton Football Club, my players and the supporters for giving me the opportunity to manage this fantastic and historical club. I decided to leave as I have a new challenge with a team that was always in my heart. Newly appointed Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti showing appreciation to Everton Football Club after leaving the Toffees to join the Spanish Giants for a second time. And that's the final whistle on Sports Fiesta this morning.
All right, that's our packet. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you at 4 p.m. on a fresh edition of Sports Fiesta. My name is Saliu Ibrahim. I've been doing this with Egosa Agbekan and Chijundu Itoro. Stay tuned. KU News Update is at 9. Bye-bye.